Hello everybody. We are going to be starting fractions today. This is new content, so please bear with me as we go along with this together. So today is our intro to the unit. All we're going to be doing today is going over what a fraction is, the type of vocabulary we're going to start using in this unit, and then we are going to do a couple of examples, and that is it. We're going to keep it pretty short and sweet. I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed. I don't want you to feel as though you don't know what you're doing, so we're just going to do it really simple and keep it pretty short. So right now we have fractions. What is a fraction? A fraction is a number that is expressed with equal parts of a whole object or a set of an object. So basically what that means is, think of it as like if you have a pizza. So a pizza is a whole thing, a whole object, and it's cut into equal parts. So if you have a large pizza, I think it usually consists of like 8 pieces. So if you take a piece, what are you left with? What is the fraction of the piece that you have? So if you, like I said, if a pizza has 8 pieces, so that is the whole amount. If you take one piece, you have taken 1/8 of that pizza, right? Does that make any kind of sense? So all you're doing is counting the parts and counting the whole of either the object or the set of objects, okay? So right here, we just have some simple examples. So for this square, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a whole, so you have 4 parts that equal a whole, object. So if you were to shade in one piece of that, you have shaded in 1/4. Okay? So on the top, you have your numerator. That is the parts that you are counting. On the bottom, you have your denominator. That is the whole number. Okay? So here we go. We're going to go to this example. So here we have 4 circles, and you have 2 that are shaded. So your fraction of the shaded amount would be 2/4. Okay? Now, another way to look at this one, if you take this away, is you have two equal sets, right? So you have 2 right here, 2 right here. 2 that are shaded and 2 that aren't shaded. So you could obviously look at that and say, well, half of them are shaded and half of them aren't. Now, we'll get into reducing fractions later on, but I just wanted to kind of point that out. All right, so for this one, we have a triangle, and it is split into 2 equal parts. That's the one part about fractions. They're always going to be equal, okay? Sorry, that's my dog. So when you look at this, you have 1, 2. So you already know the denominator is the bottom number again. That's the part that makes it a whole. So you have 2 pieces that make up the whole shape. So that's going to be 2. Now the shaded portion is the numerator. So it's only 1/2 of that that's shaded. So it's 1/2, which will be half. All right. And the last one, which is again where I was talking about the numerator and the denominator, you have 1, 2, 3. So you have 3 parts that make up the whole. So think about this as a whole. And so 3 would be the denominator, or again, the whole. And then you have 2 that have been shaded. So when you write that as a fraction, you have 2 parts over 3. Okay? So that's that. Now, when we go to the vocabulary, all you really need to make sure that you know is that the numerator is the number on top and the denominator is the number on the bottom. So as long as you are able to identify the parts versus the whole, you'll be good with fractions. because those are the most important pieces. Now, when we get down here, we have some keywords that I want you to start paying attention to. So when I am talking about fractions, you're going to hear terms like part, you're going to hear terms like whole, set, half, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Okay? So those are going to be the types of measurements that you're going to be using when you're doing fractions. So again, when I'll use the same example with the pizza, you have 8 parts that make up the whole entire pizza. If you take one of those pieces, you have taken 1/8 of that pizza. Does that make sense? So let's see. If you have 8 slices on the whole pizza, and I don't know, you take 4 pieces. So now you have in your possession, you have 4/8 of the pizza. Or if you look at it as 8, you take away 4, you have 4 that you have and 4 that are left. So you've taken half of the pizza, right? So when we start looking at fractions, I want you to remember the numerator is on the top and the denominator is on the bottom. The numerator is the parts that you're counting, and the denominator is the whole, right? The whole number of the object or the set of objects, right? So this would be a set of objects because, I mean, they're separate, but it counts as a whole. And this would be a whole object. Does that make sense? So this would be a whole, this would be a whole, this is a set, and this is a set. Their sets are set. If it's a set, it's separated. If it is a whole, it's not. Pretty simple. So what I want you to do now is I want you to do these 4 examples. I want you to do them independently, and then I will call you, and we're going to go over them together. So I want you to look at number 1. Remember, the numerator is on top, denominator is on the bottom. What is shaded versus the whole amount that you have? This is a set, so remember, you count them together as the whole. And if they're together, then that is a whole object. Set, whole, whole, whole object. Set, whole, whole, whole object. All right? Now, yeah, go do that, and then I will see you tomorrow.